Today was rough. So rough. So I wanted to talk about it. Today is December 30th, and I was doing a lot of reflection today. I had my end of the month review for an hour, end of the year review for an hour and a half. Really just going through what went well this year, what didn't work well this year, what got in the way, and what I want more of, what I don't want more of, and being intentional with those questions and answers. And it was hard. So I wanted to go through, and I wanted to talk about some of my goals that I had written down. And so I wrote these last year, and it said, get closer to God and do it now. And that was one thing I intentionally started focusing on, was how do I get closer to God? What does that look like? Does it look like a Bible study? Does it look like journaling? Does it look like getting out in front of Him? Does it look like going to church constantly? What does that look like for me? And for me, it doesn't mean going to church constantly. I don't have to be inside the four walls to worship or feel connected to God. But it did mean that I had to be intentional about it. I had to spend time with God. Another one was to pay off some bills, and that included some debt that I had all the way back from 2023, and I was able to do that. So thank goodness God was there for that. Some other things were like hire new cleaning techs, a deep clean specialist, create the deep clean specialist program and put it into action. Some health goals: eat better, exercise more. I do Pilates once a week, mixed with physical therapy. I actually have a disability, and some of you may not know that, maybe the first time you're hearing that. So I make sure that I try to continuously just stay active on weeks that I'm not traveling. And then I started some gratitude journaling, and some of the things that I started writing down was believe in what you pray for. Another thing that I wrote down weekly, so that was in October and November, and again in December, I wrote down, get closer to God, get closer to God, get closer to God, because I could feel myself pulling away, just not staying intentional with my focus time with God. So today during my focus time, it came up again. Get closer to God. What's the problem? Get closer to God. And then I also ran some numbers today. Some things that went well, some things that didn't go well. And I looked and I texted one of my friends and I said, we grew by 18% this year. And then Rodney and I were in the lunch line at a restaurant earlier, and I looked at him and I said, I'd really like to see like a graph chart where it kind of like spikes up and down and back up and down. And where we had, it was really rocky, don't get me wrong. And then when we closed that one location, it plummeted. And then it started just steadily climbing back up. And then we still finished the year strong. We finished the year, we're closed tomorrow, so the year's done. We finished the year over $56,000 over budget, over what we had planned for, over what our goal was, even shutting that company down, over $56,000. If I don't know if that's getting closer to God or not, I think it is. It feels like it is. So many things that just screamed success whenever I was looking over this today. And there were several things that I wrote down throughout the year that just hit different. And as I was going back through, one of the things said witness. And another says healing. These are hard words for me. Healing especially, because healing is something that I feel like I really want a whole lot of, but something that's not going to just come easy. And I know that. And sometimes I limit myself with my disability, and sometimes I try to soar, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I can't quite do that. And I forget. And so healing for me even though I have the disability, the healing for me needs to be emotional. I need to heal emotionally from the trauma from the accident, and I need to heal mentally as well. And so I did a Clear the Clutter class where I talked about this. So if you were there, thank you for going through that class with me. It's the first time that I'd actually talked about the trauma of the accident completely. And there's still some healing to take place there. I also wrote my vivid vision last November the 16th, it says. And one of the things that I had put in my vivid vision, y'all, I was stuck on getting this vivid vision written. I had taken a class on it and I couldn't get past the modules I had, and it was with Jennifer Hootie, and she was fantastic. And then I was sitting locally in Alexandria at a marketing event, and this guy walks in named Ari, and I was like, who is this guy? And they say you always get judged by your shoes. I looked at his shoes and I was like, just nice worn out dress shoes, faded black blue jeans, old belt, tucked in t-shirt with some vinyl letters stuck on it. Who is this guy? And when he started speaking, he was talking and he was flipping through a book, and the book was so worn out, the spine of it, seriously, it looked like it was about to just come apart in his hand. He started talking about vision and what vision was to him. And when he spoke, I resonated. And I don't know if I resonated more because he looked like an average guy that just walked in off the street, and then come to figure out he is one of the founders and owners of Zingerman's. Sounds pretty cool. I've been following him ever since and learned so much from him. But I left there and I went to my coffee shop that I always go to, and I sat down and decided, let me see if I can write my vivid vision and what that looks like. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote my vivid vision for what I wanted it to look like in 2027, by October of 2027. It is so defined, and a part in here says, I walk into my office that is filled with sweet scents, almost like fresh baked cookies. We have ordered the little plug-ins that smell like fresh baked cookies. I own a cleaning company, and we don't have that as a host smell for us. I walk across our gray wood floors and notice how soft they feel under my feet. What we currently have is old original carpet from the 50s and 60s, and it's hard, like there's no padding underneath it. So it's really important to me that these things happen. And it says, I turn on our TV and set the station to Air One radio station, and one of my favorite songs come on, Talking to Jesus. I find myself stopping this moment to pray over my staff, my clients, my company, their days and families. The energy is calm yet motivating, soft and welcoming, and it goes on and on. And this is a vision that I have prayed for. And one of the things that it says towards the end of it is we are hitting our revenue goal this year with a 20% profit margin in our company. 20% profit margin in our company. Our taxes are paid in full every quarter. Check. And monitored closely for any errors. If you know my story, you know how that happened. But looking at this, another one says, our staff consistently makes $900 a week before tips and bonuses. Everyone is financially sound and able to provide a better life for themselves and their families. And when I look at paychecks every week and I see these checks that are closer and closer to $900 consistently, I mean, we have team members that are just sitting at $840, $850 every single week for a part-time job. That is so rewarding and moving for me to be able to provide those opportunities for other people. So today on Review and Reflect Day, I sat down and I went back through this notebook, the things that I have written and just gone over. One of the things that I wanted to point out in here, and I think this is the page, yeah, it says, I got to refund my client's money from an unsuccessful job last week. I have learned so much, and I'm also reminded of so many different opportunities we should be more grateful for. I learned we get to choose the clients we work for. We get to, here's the list, stop and make a decision about who we clean for. We get to turn away business. We get to call our clients to offer a refund. We get feedbacks from our techs. We listen to our gut instincts. We trust our techs. We create better staff relationships. We learn, and I scratched it out and said, we teach moments that are learnable. That's different than we learn teachable moments. As I went through some of the things that I learned about myself this year was growth. And as much as I thought I wasn't connected to God, almost every single page says something about God on it that I had written down without even realizing it. And the review and reflect that I went back through today and started deciding what am I going to start doing more of, what I'm going to stop doing more of. It also goes back to clearing the clutter mentally, emotionally, and physically. When am I going to stop and start doing more of physically, emotionally, and mentally? And that's where you really start moving your business forward. So I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but I wanted to say that if you are not taking the time to reflect on your business and what's happening, you might be missing out on some serious growth. I put in here 20%, and just this year we grew by 18%. That's huge. And if you haven't heard my story about me shutting down one location, it was over $182,000 a year. I encourage you to go back. I just came out with that publicly a couple weeks ago, actually. So thanks for being here. Thank you for being on my journey with me. I am the owner of Prestige Purpose and Prestige Home Cleaning. We're a luxury residential home cleaning company. And at Prestige Purpose, I work with service-based small business owners to teach them how to move their companies forward and not just give you the homework and you go off and do it. We're going to sit down and we're going to work together. I'm going to log into your computer. You're going to screen share. We're going to look at everything together. And I'm going to actually help you make the moves. I had business coaches in the past, and it was paperwork and thanks so much, here's your homework, good luck. That doesn't work very well. But if we can sit down and we can go through step by step what's in front of us, then typically we will be able to move forward. And papers that you can see back here on the wall, I just realized that they're hanging up there, was something that I was trying to figure out from a book I'm reading. And it's called One Layer Deep. So if you haven't read this book, I highly suggest it. It's the guide to winning in business without losing yourself. And Libby DeLucian is the author. She is a bestseller. Actually, the book made bestseller. And I'm on reviewing chapter, I think this is 7. Chapter 7, the 5 ego buckets. And I felt a little stuck. And so I had to stop and put it on the wall. And I'm a big put it on the wall person. To try to figure out, learning to be more self-aware. Where am I stuck? What does it look like? Because there's so many times that I was stuck, I couldn't figure out what it looked like. And I am stuck, but now I'm stuck in a different spot. And I'm stuck in the seen, unseen, and obvious. And so I started writing those down. Things that are seen, things that are unseen, and then those that are obvious. And the breakthroughs. It's up on the wall. So maybe we'll talk about that one day. But I am happy to share my journey with you guys. It's scary. It's very scary to come on camera and just sit down and do this. And I don't know that I'll be back on here tomorrow. Tomorrow is pretty jam-packed for me. So I just want to say Happy New Year, and I hope 2026 is everything that you make it.